Baseball-sized hail is pounding parts of southeast Texas this afternoon as a powerful line of severe thunderstorms sweeps across the region, prompting urgent warnings from the National Weather Service and local emergency officials. The hail, measuring up to 2.75 inches in diameter, has been reported in several neighborhoods across the Houston area. Texans took to social media Friday afternoon to post photos of the large hail. The massive hailstones are part of a larger storm system that developed Friday afternoon, bringing torrential rain, damaging wind gusts above 60 miles per hour, and a heightened risk of flash flooding. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for the greater Houston area until 8 p.m. In addition to hail, the storm is expected to create hazardous travel conditions and scattered power outages due to downed trees and power lines. A powerful line of storms is expected to sweep through the Houston area this afternoon and evening, bringing the risk of large hail, damaging wind gusts, and localized flooding, particularly for areas north of Interstate 10. The National Weather Service has placed much of the southeast Texas region under an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, for severe weather, with storms likely to fire up not long after lunchtime. Though the morning hours remain calm, conditions are expected to deteriorate rapidly by mid-afternoon as instability increases across the metro area. Virtually any storm that forms today could become strong to severe, Space City Weather's Matt Lanza warned, citing a potent mix of moisture, lift, and atmospheric energy. The two main threats today will be pockets of strong wind gusts in excess of 40 to 50 miles per hour and the potential for hail. An isolated tornado cannot be entirely ruled out, but the bigger risks are damaging wind and hail today, Lanza said in his morning report. In addition to hail and high winds, heavy downpours may lead to street flooding in some areas, with totals of up to 3 to 4 inches expected in some areas. A Stage 1 flood alert has been issued by Space City Weather as a precaution, especially in low-lying neighborhoods that are typically flood-prone. Over 25 million Americans are under threat for damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes on Saturday. The long stretch of disruptive severe weather and flash flooding across portions of the central and eastern United States will be shifting east Saturday. The primary severe weather threats for this area are damaging wind gusts and large hail, with an isolated tornado risk mainly for northern Virginia up to New Hampshire. Flash flooding will also be a risk for those areas and the surrounding areas across the east. New storms will begin after 1 p.m. Eastern Time from the Carolinas up to New York. These storms will make their way east throughout the afternoon into the evening, with some becoming strong enough to produce damaging wind gusts, large hail, and maybe an isolated tornado. Severe weather activity will quickly wind down just before midnight, but the flash flooding threat will linger around through the overnight with any of the heavier downpours that set up. The storm system that is responsible for the stormy and wet weather for the eastern U.S. on Saturday is part of an omega block pattern where two storm systems are locked in between an area of high pressure. This pattern creates a sharp contrast in weather conditions across a wide area, and this will certainly be the case for this weekend. Some of these showers will be heavy enough to produce some isolated flash flooding for parts of the Northeast between Sunday and Tuesday. On Friday, hail, larger than a tennis ball, was reported near Marquez, Texas, while widespread hail at or larger than quarter size reported elsewhere from Texas to New York. There are widespread reports of downed trees and power lines on roadways from Texas to Ohio, along with isolated reports of damage to structures in Texas. The western storm system will slowly make its way into the central U.S. by Monday, tapping into moisture from the Gulf and bringing a renewed severe weather and flash flood threat for the region. For Monday, the severe weather threat is centered over central Texas and includes Fort Stockton, Midland, Lubbock, and Abilene. The primary risks as of right now look to be large to very large hail and damaging wind gusts, as well as flash flooding. These storms will begin to fire up during the early to mid-afternoon as discrete supercellular storms, growing into clusters of storms during the evening. For Tuesday, this storm system will continue to move east, shifting the flash flooding threat to portions of the deep south and tapping into more moisture for a higher flash flood threat. The highest flash flood threat for Tuesday, level 3 or 4, is centered over eastern Texas, far southwestern Arkansas, and northern Louisiana. This includes Texarkana, Arkansas, Lufkin, Texas, and Shreveport, Louisiana. Other areas of the southern plains and the deep south are likely to see flash flooding on Tuesday from Oklahoma to Mississippi. Some of these areas have already seen a lot of rain from the past week, making the ground very saturated. This will make flash flooding easier with any heavy rainfall that happens early next week. Additionally, rainfall from these storms is still slowly trickling down into the Mississippi River. Because of this, rivers are already elevated and additional rain will likely cause river flooding across the lower Mississippi River Valley. Weather is about to get interesting in San Antonio as the city is within hours of possible severe storms, including very large hail. On Friday afternoon, a severe thunderstorm watch was issued for a large area of south-central Texas, including San Antonio. The storm alert is expected to expire by 8 p.m. on Friday. Forecasters warn of apple-size hail and wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. In the latest forecast report from the National Weather Service, NWS, San Antonio is now at an enhanced risk for severe weather. This is a spike from yesterday's marginal and slight risk of severe weather NWS shared on Thursday. The main things folks should be on alert for is large to very large hail, damaging winds and heavy rain up to 2 to 3 inches possible, according to NWS. Forecasters say wind gusts are expected to be around 60 miles per hour and hail could be as large as 2 inches in diameter. As of Friday morning, NWS forecasters expect the storm threat to be between noon and 2 a.m. Saturday. Severe storms and heavy rain are expected again today into late tonight, and this time the coverage and impacts will be higher due to a cold front. Large to very large hail and damaging wind gusts would be the main hazards, but heavy rainfall could also develop and lead to flooding. An isolated tornado is possible as well, NWS said. Nearly a year ago, on May 9th, guerrilla hail struck central Texas. Reports from around Austin and the Texas Hill Country showed massive hail falling from the skies, measuring anywhere from 4 and 6 inches in diameter. National Weather Service meteorologist Nick Hampshire told MySA back in May the record for the largest hail in Texas sits just over 6 inches. A massive chunk of the I-35 corridor was placed under a severe thunderstorm warning at 4:46 p.m. Friday, May 2nd. New Braunfels, Green, Schertz, and Seguin were all placed within the threatened area that could impact of more than 356,000 people. Up to 60-mile-per-hour winds are possible and half-dollar-sized hail is also a risk. The warning is set to expire at 5:45 p.m.